Cannabis improves major depressive disorder symptoms, study finds. And this is from the Leafy News out of the UK. And it says that the treatment with medical cannabis is associated with reduced levels of depression in patients suffering major depressive disorder, according to a study published in the journal Pharmapsychiatry. The study carried out by researchers at the University of Duisburg, Essen, which is in Germany, and medical cannabis provider Algae Care in Germany accessed medical cannabis use as a cohort of 59 outpatients suffering from major depressive disorder. Major depressive disorder, or MDD, is also referred to as clinical depression. It's a mental health condition that causes persistently low or depressed mood and loss of interest in activities that once brought joy. Similar to the UK, medical cannabis can be described for MDD patients in Germany when traditional medical treatments have failed to produce results. In fact, I think the classification of this order is basically treatment-resistant depression, so depression that's not easily treated with typical antidepressant drugs. For the study, all participants had tried treatment with antidepressant medication, as I was saying, and were observed using cannabis over 18 weeks. Data was collected at the start of the study and during monthly consultations where the severity of the depression was measured on a 0 to 10 point rating scale, and side effects were also added and assessed in a checklist. Mean severity of depression decreased from 6.9 points at the start to 3.8 at week 18, the study reported. 1/3 of the patients complained of side effects, but none were considered severe. Medical cannabis was well tolerated, and the dropout rate was comparable to those in clinical trials of antidepressant medication, the study concluded. Patients were reported clinically significant reduction of depression severity. Reported side effects included dry eyes, dry mouth, and increased appetite. 2 patients reported trouble concentrating, fatigue, or disorientation, while 1 patient reported nausea, headaches, changes in taste, a scratchy throat, lethargy, and restlessness. These results are all extremely promising and encouraging as they expand the evidence for the continued use of medical cannabis in the treatment of psychiatric illness in Germany. Dr. Julian Wickman, a founder of and CEO of Algae Care, people who provided the cannabis, and also co-founder of the Bloomwell Group, Algae Care's parent company. In addition, the study lays the foundation for future research projects on the effects of cannabis therapy in the treatment of mental health conditions and illnesses. Past studies have also shown promising evidence that cannabis can help with the symptoms of depression. A 2023 study published in Neurotherapeutics involved 129 patients in the UK Medical Cannabis Registry patient database who were diagnosed with the depression. The results showed that the medical cannabis use was associated with improvements in depression and anxiety symptoms, as well as age-related quality of life and sleep quality over a 1, 3, and 6 months of treatment. In 2021, an observational study of 368 patients were also using cannabis, and 170 additional participants who did not use cannabis in a control group found that those already taking cannabis reported lower levels of depression. When a small number of participants from the group took follow-up or took up cannabis in a follow-up, research reported that instances of anxieties dropped. So that's the article. This has been now proven in these clinical studies with humans that basically cannabis use helps lower the severity of depression. And when antidepressant drugs don't work, cannabis can be basically used to drop what was a score of 6.9 on a scale from 0 to 10 down to 3. I mean, that's pretty significant. That's a pretty, statistically significant drop in the severity of these episodes. So we all know that cannabis makes people happy. And certainly, I guess that which sometimes people refer to as the bliss or the high or the side effect is actually what's working here to alleviate the severity of these symptoms of depression. So that's my story today from the great state of Vermont, in Willie's shop right here in Allbird, Vermont. So if you're ever in the beautiful state of Vermont and you want to come up and get some high quality cannabis, come see our guy Willie. He's usually in the chat, yes, but today he's with me right next to me.
Yeah, shout out to Vermont Alternatives.
News.
Yeah. Jason. Yeah, shout out to Vermont Alternatives, Willie in the building. Yes. Yeah. This is great news. This man, we're just having like a lot of like good news today going on. What a way to
Positivity Friday, man.
I first added a story about my favorite subject, Delta 8 and hemp, and them kicking the can down the road. But I didn't want to have such a depressing story to read when I was sitting here with Willie. So I changed my story today to talk about this use of to treat depression, and that should make everyone happy. And we all know that when people leave Willie's store, they're all happy because they just bought some high quality nugs.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. There's no Delta 8.
Yeah, no Delta 8 on the shelf. Yes.
That's surely any CBD.
Dr. Mark, it makes me wonder with what we were just talking about with Dr. Talleyrand's story about the limbic system and that your endocannabinoid system is not producing a sufficient amount of this endogenous cannabinoid. And so you supplement with a phytocannabinoid and then you feel better, the whole will to live, depression. I don't know. This is where my head goes.
Yeah, well, I think that's all part of homeostasis. I think that, the well-feeling that you get, whether you're consuming CBD or THC, helps balance your body. And I think part of that de-stressing, part of the, delivering, when people feel the effects of cannabis, that's all healthy. That's all medical. That's decreasing the stress in your brain, in your body. And I'm sure Dr. Talleyrand sees this in a number of his patients that, people use cannabis because it makes them feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that is a medical use of cannabis.
Mm-hmm. It's cannabinoid deficiency syndrome might be underlying a lot of our issues today.
Mm-hmm.
You want to touch on that, Dr. T?
That's a good idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. In reading this study, I'm sort of searching for the next step. This is great news, but the next step is, what did they use? Was it type 1, type 2, or type 3 cannabis?
Jean. So there's a link. There's a link to the paper. Maybe we could put it in the chat, Jason. I think I also put it in the Discord.
Yeah. The study. You did put the link in. Adam, did we include the separate study in the article? Yeah. So you can go directly onto our website at www.highat9news.com and you can find that study. It was a separate link that he had put in Discord that was the actual link to the actual study. So Adam is going to go and make sure that is attached, and so that should be done in about the next 10 minutes. And just so that way anyone that's watching this, they can go ahead and read that whole entire study directly on our website.
So Jean, my read of the paper quickly. My read of the paper quickly is that they were just looking at people who were using cannabis. I assume because it's in Germany, they're just smoking it. They don't really say they're just looking at the subpopulation within their group of cannabis users comparing it to the non-cannabis users. So I would take it that those people are probably all smoking, but they could be using edibles.
They're probably rolling spliffs if they're in Germany.
If they're in Germany, yeah, they could be smoking blunts, right?
Yes.
Which
I think some German companies have a broader range. You know, you go into a dispensary in California, at least, and 99 out of 100 of the flowers that they're selling to you are type 1, high THC, low CBD. But you go to Germany, and I think there's a more even distribution. There's more type 2s and type 3s in there. So they might be using more CBD, which might be why it's been beneficial. Either way, cannabis use is basically what they say in this abstract. And how often are they using it? So they could be using any type. It looks like all types seem to work.
Mm-hmm. And just as a matter of fact, that is now on our website, that whole study. So you can go ahead and check it out there at www.high9news.com.